their experience to what they really wanted to be, helping them really realize their dreams. So, game changer. Do you guys use that term at all? Or when you think about a game changer, what do you think about? I know that there's a definition up there, but what do you think about when I say game changer? Yes. I like that, especially the part to alter to your favor, right? Something that can be really transformative, changing for you. So the definition here is a newly introduced element or factor that changes an existing situation or activity in a significant way, or a person or thing that dramatically changes the course, the strategy, the character, or the outcome. That sounds like a pretty loaded thing, something that can have that much effect. And so today we want to talk with you about some tips to really change the game, change the experience that you're having early on in your career. But I'm going to let you know something. You guys are game changers. Because by being the first person, let's say, in your family to go to college, or maybe in your immediate community to go to college, you are literally changing the course not only of your own life, but of generations to come. And I think we'll demonstrate that as we go. So the first thing we want to do is congratulate you. Congratulate you and say thank you for taking the step. Thank you for being of a pioneering, trailblazing spirit. Thank you in spite of all the uncertainty that may have come with going to a place that maybe no one has gone before in the same way. And for choosing ASU. And if you get nothing else from us, no, we got your back. That's the short soundbite version. That's what's going to be on the quiz. We got your back. Okay? So that's me, looking kind of sassy. Bought that jacket just for the picture. I didn't want the full body shot, but Kevin put me up there like that. And I'm the director of the First Year Success Center. It's been my honor. It's really a privilege to be the founding director of the First Year Success Center. And as many of you know, we provide holistic peer coaching to students, freshmen and sophomore students here at ASU. We're going into our 4th year. And one of the main reasons why I do this work and here at ASU for the last 20 years is because I myself am a first-generation college student, and I remember what it was like to be that, the excitement with that, and all the uncertainty of that. I have a bachelor's degree in social work from back east. I'm from New York. That's what's up. That's it. Yeah, I see. I saw some hands up there. Teasing, I'm Biggie. There's a Tupac here somewhere. But I'm a New Yorker. I grew up in Spanish Harlem, New York. I went to school in upstate New York in a very small private school called Marist College. Talk about culture shock. It was a wild experience, but I got through it, graduated, and I came to ASU for my master's degree back in 1995. And I've been here since then, working with students in a whole host of roles, and really wanting to support all students, but particularly students who may not know how to navigate this because it is their first time or they're the first ones in their family. So I draw from that. And Kevin?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Kevin Correa, if you know your R's, or Correa, and I'm the Associate Director here at First Year Success Center. I've been at ASU about 4.5 years. I did my undergrad at University of Michigan. I was also a first-generation college student like you. I was also not a state student. I also went away from home. I grew up also in New York City, and then also in Central Florida. And while going to Michigan for my undergraduate degree, I studied sociology with a focus on race, class, and gender. And then I got my master's degree in education here from ASU, go Sun Devils. And currently my last year of my doctorate degree program, also at ASU, the Teachers College. So I'm super excited to be graduating this spring. Yeah. My first generation student journey, there was a lot of opportunities that I wish I had known about. And so our goal today is to make sure that you don't miss out on great opportunities, that we got your back, and also that you are connected to really critical information, resources, and opportunities that can benefit your undergraduate experience.
So Kevin, can you tell us a little bit more about the center?
Absolutely. Who here has been to the First Year Success Center so far? All right. So that's great. So for those of you who don't know, what we do is we provide peer coaching services for ASU freshmen and for sophomores on all 4 campuses. These are major coaching programs. We have VIP Squared. Who's here a freshman? Right, so you're part of VIP Squared coaching where you get matched one-on-one with a junior, senior, or grad student who's studying something similar as you, and then they coach you for your entire freshman year and have a successful freshman year. Who's a sophomore here? Many sophomores? Sophomores. Well, when you become a sophomore next year, you can participate in our VIP Suite coaching program, which is for sophomores, to make sure that you are continuing your journey to success and continuing your journey to graduation. This is part of our VIP 3 Student Success Series. So about once a month, we offer group coaching workshops such as this, to give you timely information, inspiration, and resources that can benefit you. And then last but not least, we have our VIP digital coaching package, which is a comprehensive set of online resources on our website. So the key with this is that whatever way works best for you to work with us and utilize first-year success coaching, we got you.
Kevin, and don't we have a workshop coming up? I know we're going to remind them later on, but it's going to be seriously compelling, right?
Yes. Is there anyone here who would like to get scholarship for their education? Anyone? Okay. So next week, actually, a week from today, at the Tempe campus, we're going to have a scholarships workshop. So we're going to have coaches who are part of our team that has earned over $1 million in scholarships, giving their insider tips and information about how you can earn lots and lots of money for yourself, for your education. So that's going to be next week, and we'll have more details later on.
Did you say $1 million?
Over $1 million.
The coaches that are there are going to be talking about having won collectively $1 million in scholarships. I don't know about you, but if there was $5 outside that door, I'd be running over you guys. I'm just keeping it real. You know, I work for the state. But $1 million, I put that in my calendar and make sure you show up. It is one of our most popular workshops. We expect probably close to 200 people at it. So come get your seat early. Okay.
All right, so for those who haven't yet met with a coach, we say a coach does 3 C's. They're your connector, your cheerleader, and catalyst. So connector, they're going to connect you to relevant information, resources, and opportunities. That could be things like scholarships. That could be things like jobs or research opportunities. Basically, anything that would be of interest to you, that would benefit you, your coach helps you get you connected. Because ASU doesn't lack for resources or information opportunities, but sometimes it can be challenging to be aware of those opportunities. So that's where your coach comes in, making sure that you're connected with them. They're also your cheerleader. Someone wrote a song about a year ago that, oh, I'm so glad I have a cheerleader, right? That's why I'm a cheerleader. So what is they encourage you, they motivate you, they inspire you, they believe in you. They're that person who's in your corner saying, you can do this, believe in yourself, I believe in you. They're going to give you a high five when you achieve a major goal, and they'll also be in your corner if you have any setbacks. So that's what your coach does, your cheerleader throughout your whole year. And then last but not least, they're your catalyst. So catalyst is really about pushing you even further than you might think that you can go. That's what a coach does. They spur you to success. They'll work with you to set any goal that you have. That could be getting a 3.5 or 4.0 GPA. That could be going to study abroad. That might be a job, an internship, joining a student group, leadership experiences, whatever goals that you have for yourself, whatever you want to achieve at ASU, your coach would be a catalyst to help you achieve that goal. And just some feedback that we have from some students. This one student says here, very glad that I came into the First Year Success Center. I feel a lot more motivated and prepared to achieve my goals. And then FYS is the backbone supporter of my success. It is what connects me to other resources available on campus that will also further my success. So students love us. Those of you who've already met with your coach, raise your hand if you think it was a positive experience. Yes. All right, we have a 98% satisfaction rate, so that's statistically valid. So just know that it's a resource for you, and it's really a special opportunity to meet one-on-one and get that individualized attention from a student who was just in your shoes a couple years ago and who's going to be by your side your whole freshman year.
And this is serious business. Last year alone, we had 16,000 appointments. Freshman students coming in to see voluntarily their coach. I don't know about you guys, but for people to come in 16,000 times, it might be something good to be had. And so we know it's really an important and impactful service. Glad that so many of you are using it. And students tell us all the time, freshmen in particular, I wish I would have come in sooner. That's what we repeatedly hear, I wish I would have come in sooner. But once you do, you're hooked. So we're really glad that you're engaging with the services. So just a little bit about game changers and what first generation scholars or sort of this identity means. And sometimes there's a definition sort of vacillates, but basically it's divided as a student whose parents have not yet completed a 4-year college degree. That you might be the first person in your immediate family, or just not really have knowledge of the college experience. First generation students nationally, broadly, are more likely to come from multicultural ethnic minority backgrounds, come from low income backgrounds, be female, be non-native speakers, or have been born outside the U.S., possibly have a disability, or be financially independent from their parents. These are some things that sometimes coalesce with the first-gen identity. That doesn't mean that it always does, but it's sort of on a national profile. And for all these reasons, there may be some opportunities and strengths that the students bring, but maybe some other roles, responsibilities, and hurdles even that they have to negotiate and navigate as a student. So really quick here, we want to show you a video from our very own first-generation coaches. And these are a few of them. Over 40% of our coaches are first-generation college students. So what that means for you is that you're likely to have a coach who's been there and done that and has navigated what it's like to be the first person in your family.
First generation.
First generation, first generation, first generation.
So being a first-gen college student actually means representing my family. So being the first person to actually go to college, it definitely means a lot to me.
It's important to me because I know members of my family look up to me and they're very proud that I've actually made it this far in my goals with education.
My first month was pretty smooth, and I'm very outgoing, so I was able to meet a lot of new people and a lot of faculty and staff.
Even though I felt here, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of wonderful people that were there to support me, not only physically, but also like emotionally. They were there with me through the process.
It comes with huge advantages because that means that you're able to set that groundwork.
I know that other people in my family didn't get this opportunity, so while I do have this, I want to take advantage of it as much as I can.
There were quite a few challenges that I faced as a first-year freshman. Definitely getting acclimated to the atmosphere here at ASU, especially since I lived in the dorms. I wasn't used to that at all.
I didn't know how financially it worked and whether it would cover all the expenses of living in the dorm. But thankfully, I met with some good people at Financial Aid, and I was able to get a solution.
The transition from high school to college and the workload, it's pretty difficult. So time management is a huge factor that everyone's trying to develop.
Most of my siblings never were able to teach me certain things.
I had a lot of tutoring for math, and I always went to the writing center for my papers.
Go see your first year success coach. We want to meet you. We want to be your friends. We're in this position because we have the knowledge and experience and the skills to help you get through any challenge you might have during your freshman year. You're not alone. ASU really is here to help you, I promise.
Don't be scared of getting to meet new people. Joining an organization on campus is one of the best ways to get involved.
I feel like a first year success coach can be a game changer because
You get an opportunity to meet with someone who has gone through the same process as you.
Even if no one in your family went to college. I don't know you, but I believe in you. So just believe in yourself as well. 4 years will go by as soon as you blink, and you'll be graduating. You'll be walking across the stage and receiving a higher. We support you.
Well done.
So just a little bit of information, just sort of like facts about first gen here at ASU. 42% of ASU freshmen are the first in their family to attend college. That's almost half. Did you guys know that? Isn't that kind of like comforting? And sometimes we feel like we're the only ones, or a small group. 42%. I predict that probably in less than 5 years it'll be over half. Over half. 39.5% of ASU's total undergraduate population, all the way freshman through senior, identify as first-generation scholars. And freshmen who engage in coaching are more likely to be successful at ASU than those who don't. That means making that appointment, keeping that appointment. We know for a fact, it bears out in the research, in retention, and all the ways that the university measures success, that coming to us is good for you. It's good for your grades, it's good for retention, it's just a good practice. So Kevin, can you tell us a little bit more?
I sure can. So this is what you can expect from this initiative. This is Game Changers, not just today, this is the launch. So as part of Game Changers, you get one-on-one peer coaching, so that's what we mentioned, the VIP squared. We get matched to a coach who more than likely is first generation themselves, who can really relate to what you're going through and give you lots of insider tips and advice about how to be successful. You get group coaching workshops such as this, as well as community of support. So our goal today, or one of our goals for today, is that you meet with each other. We're going to have a resource fair afterwards where you get connected to resources on campus. And during that time, we want you to network with those staff and faculty, and also want you to network with each other and build those connections so you have a community of support supporting you for your success. Also with the group coaching workshops, you're going to get priority invitations to our program. So you're going to get invitations to our scholarships workshop. And every other big name speaker, you're going to be the first to know about it. So you're going to get that VIP invitation treatment to all the workshops that we have throughout the year. Digital coaching, we actually have on our website a website specifically just for first generation students. So that website has things like scholarships for first generation students. It has tips for first generation students. All sorts of information and resources that can benefit you. So that's on our website, digital coaching. Also, our unwavering commitment to your success. We want you to know that we are here for you no matter what. Through good times and bad times, we want you to be successful. So that's what you can expect from us. We're also in the process of developing a directory of staff and faculty at ASU who are first generation. That'll be on our website. So that way you can see, oh, who are some staff and faculty that I might know or that I might be able to talk to who give me some additional support as you navigate your college experience. So that's what you can expect from us.
And that's really important for you guys to know that it's not just us here at the center or Kevin and I or even just the 75 coaches that serve students at ASU through the center, but it's all the people who are around the perimeter at the tables that you're going to get to know later on in the expo. That there really is this community of people who are here for every student's success, but also who have navigated themselves or have just a real passion for helping first generation students. And the reason that's important, and one of the sentences that sort of encapsulates for me what it was like for me to be a first gen, and maybe it connects with you, is that sometimes when you don't know what you don't know, how will you know, right? So I often felt like there were things that I didn't know simply because I had never had exposure to it or to the university process, but I didn't even know that I didn't know it. So I was missing out on opportunities because I didn't even know I was supposed to be looking out for those opportunities. Does that make sense? That wasn't like a riddle or anything like that. And so what we want you to know that here at the First Year Success Center and more broadly at ASU, it's okay to not know what you don't know. It's okay to come and say to me, listen, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing with this letter, this invitation, why this opportunity is important. And it's okay because I understand what that's like, right? And Kevin understands like what that's like. And people here understand what that's like. So you don't need to be embarrassed about not knowing. Okay? What's important is to ask for help. So with that, I want to go ahead and transition. So we're going to do a presentation about specific tips on succeeding as an ASU first generation student. And we are so honored because we were able to get two amazing, highly respected faculty members to come out here and talk to you about their own first generation experience and from a faculty perspective as a professor, what it takes for you to succeed as a student. Is that pretty cool? So I'm going to read bio of the first presenter, and we've asked them to do what we're calling a Theo Talk or Thea Talk. So it's sort of like a TED Talk, but with like love and some extra flavor to it. You feeling it? All right, so that's what they're going to do. And so first up, I want to introduce Dr. Delia Sainz. So this is what I want you to do, right? Our brand is VIP service. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Sainz, and she's like, amazing. You'll see in a minute. But when she comes up, I want you to give her like, just in case like she's not, make sure she doesn't hear me. Give her crazy. Okay? You feel me? All right, good stuff. Dr. Delia Sainz. Professor Delia Sainz is Associate Professor of Psychology at Arizona State University. Her doctorate in social psychology was awarded from what? Princeton University in 1987. She served previously as an assistant professor of psychology at the University of Notre Dame before moving to Arizona State University. Dr. Sainz is also a research professor at the ASU Hispanic Research Center, and during her tenure at ASU, she has served in multiple administrative roles in a variety of senior leadership positions, including Vice Provost for International and Institutional Inclusion, Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education, and the list is so long that I'm going to cut it short. But let's just say she's a senior leader for our university for many, many years. She is also a member of the editorial board for Small Group Research. In addition, she serves as Diversity Director for Quantum Energy and Sustainable Solar Technology at NSF DOE Engineering Research Center. You got to ask about what all of that means. Her research over the past 15 years has focused on tokenism, intergroup processes, acculturation, social identity, and family dynamics, and has included both laboratory and field research. Beyond her contributions to scholarship and administration, Dr. Sainz has been recognized at both institutional and national levels for outstanding contributions to the teaching and mentoring of countless undergraduate students and graduate students of color. On top of all of those amazing credentials, she's the real deal. She has been a mentor and dear colleague and friend for many, many years. Let's give some serious VIP welcome to Dr. Delia Sainz.
With an introduction like that, I'm so worried that I'm going to disappoint here.
No.
But thank you very much for inviting me to come out and speak with each of you of you is very important to this institution. So I truly am delighted to be able to talk a little bit about my own educational experience, but along the way also about the topic of culture. So let me begin by just introducing myself the way I normally do in a group, whether it's a group of students or a group of people that are going to evaluate my grant or colleagues at a professional conference. And I simply say that I am a Texan by birth. Anybody here from Texas? I'll clap for Texas. Okay, so I'm a Texan by birth, I'm a social psychologist by training, and I'm a Chicana by heritage. And so part of the heritage is sharing where I come from and what I like about my culture with other people. And culture is defined in many different ways. It can be, in fact, your ethnicity or your racial group, but it also can be your socioeconomic group, it can be your political group, it can be whatever you find is valuable and defines your core values. And so as a function of my culture, I'm going to teach you a couple of syllables along the way. So I'm going to start with one syllable, and that syllable is C. So would you repeat that? C. Okay. The relevance of that syllable will become evident later. But let me just tell you that in fact I was born and raised in poverty. I grew up in South Texas in Cameron County in a city called Brownsville on the southern tip. It has one of the lowest per capita rates in the country. I didn't know at the time that I was poor, but it became very clear as I got older. So I grew up in a 3-room frame house. And that's not to be confused with a 3-bedroom house. It literally had 3 rooms. We had a living room, we had a bedroom, and we had a kitchen. And then the bathroom was attached to the kitchen. We didn't have running water until I was 10 years old. So every day we would take these buckets outdoors, go to the spigot, fill them up, and bring them inside. And that's the water we would use for cooking, for drinking, for bathing, etc. And so oftentimes we would have to put those buckets on the stove, heat the water until they boiled, until the water boiled, so that we could use the water for bathing, etc. But education was still very important in our household. And it wasn't because of family history. In fact, my dad completed the 5th grade, and my mother completed the 8th grade. When I was in high school, my mom went back and got her GED, and I was so proud of her. We all were very proud of her. And I have to say that their own educational attainment, or lack thereof, wasn't because of lack of intelligence. It was because of lack of opportunity. But that opportunity didn't defeating them in them any sense that their children could have a higher educational attainment. And so I have to give all honor to my mother. She is my first and most influential teacher. Of all the instructors I've had in my entire life, none has taught me more than my mom. Okay? She's just amazing. She's full of wisdom. But in addition to that, she did something very important. And that was to infuse in all of her children, me included, a love of learning. There was just no limit, she would say, to what you can learn, what you expose your mind to, what situations you enter, and what you can pull from those situations in order to make yourself a better person. And to make yourself a better person, in order to make the world a better place. So even before terms like change maker were coined, I think my mother knew in her heart that every single person on this earth has the capacity to be an agent for change. And it's simply a matter of developing yourself. My dad, again, 5th grade education, also was very influential in terms of my own educational attainment. And I remember he stressed how important it was to keep current with regard to world events and local events. Every day he read the newspaper. Sometimes it was a newspaper in Spanish, sometimes it was a newspaper in English. But I remember always seeing him holding the newspaper and reading, and it got me to do the same thing. In fact, I do that now. Although I have to say I've had to quit my subscriptions now to publications like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, because there are days where I just want to do that, and then I can't get my work done. So it's a balance. The other thing that I learned from my dad was the value of being resourceful, and that was specific to two things. One is whatever hand you've been dealt, whatever materials you have at hand, whatever skills you've learned, you need to work with what you've got to advance to the next level. It makes no sense to sit there and feel sorry for yourself or think, why is it that others have so much more? Because believe me, I went to a lily white school in a very expensive neighborhood, and all the houses that we passed looked nothing at all like the house that we lived in. But it wasn't for me to think about, well, why them and why not me? It was for me to think, what's my dream? What can I do? Is that the type of house I want? Is that what I want to achieve? What's important for me? So for my dad, teaching us to work with what we've got and move beyond was really important. And then the second thing I think that was very important is that he always said, you need to make connections to a lot of people. And so as I was hearing some of the values that comprise the center, I thought, wow, my dad could have designed this center. I'm kidding. No, but there was a lot of consistency in terms of what works in life. And so making those connections is really critical, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. Now, did these messages make a difference? What my mom taught me, what my dad taught me? Absolutely. In fact, I think all of the children in my family got the message right. I had 5 brothers and sisters, and again, we grew up in this one small house. And all of us went to college. And some of us even got advanced degrees. So I have 2 brothers who have master's degrees. I have a baby sister who's actually gone back to get her PhD. And I have my own doctoral degree. So whatever it was that they did with those very simple pearls of wisdom made a big difference. And so one of the things I would say to you is that you're here for a reason. You didn't get here by yourself. There was something about your context growing up. And it was your parents maybe, or other adults who were important to you, or maybe it was friends or teachers. But along the way, you've been equipped with similar pearls of wisdom. And so I want to encourage you to really think about those, embrace them, and every time you face a challenge, go back to them. Because they can give you the type of internal strength that will motivate you through those challenges and motivate you to achieve a lot. Okay, so I'll say one more thing about my mom. And one of the things that she was really good at was inspiring me to be big in my imagination. So she wanted me to dream big. She wanted me to reach for the stars. And it reminds me of a book series that I used to read to my own kids when they were little. Maybe you all are familiar with the Miss Frizz series, the Magic School Bus. And she always used to say, get messy and make mistakes. And so I think my mom had a similar approach. She said, dream big. It's okay if you make mistakes. You just pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And we really do use bootstraps in Texas. And keep at it, so don't give up. And she herself had a big imagination. I remember when I was 5 years old, she said to me, you're going to get your doctorate degree. And when I grew up and actually got into a graduate program, I thought back to that time and I thought, my God, I had no imagination, this is what she was talking about with regard to what is a doctoral degree. But like a good Catholic girl, I would say, of course, Mom, yes, ma'am, whatever you say. And the funny thing is, she probably had no idea what a doctoral degree comprised. Nobody in her family went to college. Okay? But she knew that there was educational opportunities out there. And she infused in me that potential for considering them a viable possibility. And somebody did that for you. You're in college now because there were plantings of seeds along the way. And so you're germinating those dreams right now. All right, let me pause, and I'm going to teach you one more syllable. And this one is se. So repeat, se. Okay, good. I'll have a few more. All right. I need to be very honest about it, though. When you get inspired, by parents or anybody else. When you launch the career, that is not the same as knowing how to be prepared for that college career. So I did have two older brothers that went to college before me, and they were able to give me some advice and some information, but I didn't go to the same college that they did, so I myself found lots of questions when I got to college. How do I do this? How do I do that? And moreover, when I went to graduate school, I knew nobody who was close to me or related to me, my family, who had been to graduate school. So I had a lot to figure out. But guess what, folks? The tools that were inspirational early on were the ones that helped me get through. So my mom said, you've got to love learning, but in order to succeed, you have to focus on education. There are lots of distractions that come up. Parties, jobs, friends, etc. So I'm going to teach you two other syllables here that I taught to my own kids. The first one is SOT. Can you say SOT? That simply means stay on task. Okay? So despite everything that's going on, focus on your educational goals. Another one is DIN. Say it. DIN. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. So stay focused, do the task, embrace challenges, because the sooner you embrace them, the easier it becomes to take on the next challenge. Make critical connections to mentors, to faculty, to staff, to each other, because these are going to be your resourceful connections. Like my dad said, it's who you know and how you make use of your environment. So there will be VIPs in your ambit, in your environment, in your arena, but there will also be VRPs, very resourceful people. And these are the people you need to seek out, and ultimately, this is the type of person that you need to become, a very resourceful person. You want to be able to absorb wisdom and to transmit it to others. Okay, I'll give you two more things. In talking about connections, remember MAC. Can you say it? MAC. Make awesome connections. Okay. Final syllable here, again, is cultural, and I think most of you have guessed what it is, but the word is puede. So repeat after me. Puede. Okay, so we put those three together. Si se puede. So let's say it together. Si se puede. Okay, that means you can do it, I can do it, it can be done. Together we can do it. Education will open the world up for you. I have gone to the best schools. I have met wonderful people. I do a summer study abroad program in Fiji that I hope you become a part of. And I've traveled all over the world because of my education. And I know that you're going to do the same. I have complete faith in you. I know Kevin and Maricel have complete faith in you. And there are many others who also do that. Thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.
Next, we would like to introduce Dr. Saskias Casanova. Dr. Casanova is an assistant professor in the School of Transborder Studies and a faculty affiliate in the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College at ASU. She researches individual and contextual factors that relate to the immigrant origin and minoritized children's learning and development. She has tons of interest in this area. I'll just let her talk about them as well, but I'll let you know that Dr. Casanova holds a PhD in developmental and psychological sciences from Stanford University's Graduate School of Education and was previously a postdoctoral fellow in the Department of Applied Psychology at New York University. Let's give some VIP love for Dr. Casanova.
Thank you for having me. Following Dr. Sanz is a challenge, but you know, as first-gen students, we always face our challenges head-on. So here I'm going to talk a little bit about my own trajectory and really focus on some tips that I want to share with you in terms of how you can make the most use of the amazing resources that you have at ASU and specifically within the First Year Success Center. As a general background, I think actually Dr. Sanz and I have a lot in common. I immigrant origin. My family came from Mexico when I was 5 to the United States. I'm from an indigenous community in Mexico, meaning that I am not only knowledgeable of Spanish, right, but also of an indigenous language called Maya. I'm from southern Mexico. For those of you, you probably know Cancun area. And so that I live, you know, I used to live in a small rural town around that area. So when we came to this country, we grew up in a lot of poverty. My family, my parents only had, my mom had a third grade education, and my dad, similar to Dr. San's parents, had a 6th grade education. And so we were always very socialized, culturally socialized by our parents to really take pride in who we were as, you know, first generation Mexican origin children, but also to really take advantage and opportunity of what it would mean for us to become American. And for us to become fully engaged, you know, members of American society, we needed to get an education. My parents, actually still to this day, my dad is a custodian. When we were growing up, we lived with our uncle in a very small apartment, and so all 5 of us, I have 2 older siblings, shared a room. And my dad was never there. He worked 3 jobs. And so I remember it was ingrained in us to really go out there and get an education so we didn't have to work, you know, 3 jobs or work cleaning up other people's messes, as my dad likes to say. So then I went, you know, I applied to college, and I actually ended up going to Stanford University as an undergraduate as well. At that time, there were no real resources that were, you know, readily available for first generation college students at the institution. Nothing like this first year success program. But what was a real game changer for me, and just resonating with what Dr. San said, was really reaching out and using my resources, right? And really going and, you know, not being afraid to talk to my professors. So when I was a sophomore, I took a class on immigrant origin youth. And that professor, Dr. Padilla, I mean, to this day is an inspiration to me. And he was the first professor that actually reached out to not only myself, but all his students, and really wanted to know where we were coming from. You know, as learners, as students, we don't leave our identities at the door. That's what I always tell my students. You bring it in with you in the classroom. And as, you know, as I now become a professor, you know, however many years later, I don't want to date myself here, I've really always remembered that, right? That I really need to make sure that I understand my students. And part of the reason why I do the research I do, it's very personal. I research immigrant origin students, but also first generation students as well. And I try to understand what resources, what assets they bring, right? All of you, all of us, right, as first generation students, have leadership skills and perspectives that non-first gen students don't have, right? And we really want to make sure that we know our potential, and these assets that we have as leaders, we need to act on them, right? So, you know, just by you being here, you've already done something that has really made you a leader in your family and your community, and hopefully some of you will go back to those communities, right? And that's why I go back to my communities and research immigrant origin students and their families. And I've come almost full circle, right? Because now as a faculty member, I really want to be a game changer in other students' lives, and specifically in first generation students' lives. And I always am open to talking to first gen students about my experiences. But one thing that I think, you know, Dr. San's talked a lot about the similar points that I was gonna bring up, so I don't wanna repeat that. But one thing that I think I want to make sure you know is that you need to be kind to yourself too. Maybe coming from the psychological perspective and the mental health perspective. As first gen students, we have a lot of competing roles, and sometimes, you know, our roles as a family, in our families, and our role as a student, our role as our extracurricular commitments, they overlap, but sometimes they don't. So I just want to, you know, let you know that you should not only look for resources so you can, be successful in your academic career, but you should also look for resources so you can be successful emotionally and in terms of your mental health and well-being. And I cannot stress that enough. I think as a first-gen student, I always thought that, going to counseling or having a support group was something that I shouldn't do. But years later, I always tell my students that taking care of yourself first is really important, so you can actually give the full of who you are, of your different roles that you take, without, draining yourself and having a, a lot of mental health, issues that may come with the stress of being in college. So I really recommend that you do that, and that you really, if you haven't yet, I know a lot of you raise your hand, you're freshmen, schedule a time to meet with a faculty member. A faculty member, with the list that the first year success center will put out in terms of faculty members that were first generation themselves, look to them, see who you may want to be, as you develop your career, and don't be shy about it. You guys are already leaders, and you want to make sure you act on it, and you share all that you have to give with not only your peers, but also with faculty that are willing to talk to you and listen to you as well. So that, I kept it short, hopefully, and if any of you ever want to stop by my office, I'm actually in the same building that the First Year Success Center is at, the interdisciplinary B, same floor, so you can look for me there. Thank you.
Dr. Casanova, and I really appreciate the way they've done that, sort of a lot of territory in a short amount of time, and they both said Dr. Sines had to go back to a meeting, but she said give them my email, give them my phone number, anybody want to talk to me further, I'm more than willing to do so. So I really appreciate the faculty perspective. We're adjusting time just a little bit here. We want to talk to you a little bit. Kevin and I have some thoughts that we want to share from you, perhaps more broadly, about what we've learned about students, successful students, and oftentimes first-generation students. We're going to share some things with you. We also want to remind you that there are going to be several other members of the university staff and faculty here to support you that are here in the audience as well as on the perimeter during this expo fair. At the end, lots of really, really good resources that we've assembled for you, and like an insane amount of chocolate. I don't know if you've seen it, but we've got chocolate for better days over there, including chocolate milk. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like a second grader. I'm excited. So with that, we wanted to share a few things. I really, one of the things that Dr. Sines talked about, as well as Dr. Casanova, is this idea of who am I? Who am I both, in some cases, culturally, as a scholar, what do I want? And so I really want you to think about, regardless of whether you're local, whether you're out of state, whether you're coming to coaching or not, who are you? Who are you? How do you define yourself? And I mean this at the most basic level. I want you to think about the countless ways that you speak about yourself, and even that little voice that we all have inside our head. Yes, we all have that voice inside of our head. And how is it that you define yourself? Because it's really, really powerful, the words that you use to define yourself. They have profound implications, whether or not you say them out loud or you just think them, right? Because the way we think is actually the way we're going to speak and act out and behave. And ultimately, those things over time become our destiny. They become what we become. So really simple, 2 little words, I am ... I want to encourage you to seriously consider what follows I am in your life. I am never going to make it, or I'm going to do this. I am the person for the job. I am successful. I am not giving up. Or however you fill it in. Because whatever you choose to put behind I am will become your reality. In fact, what you think about you is more compelling and more defining than what anybody thinks about you, including me, Kevin, Dr. Sines, the President of the United States. It doesn't matter. What you say about you and what you think about you is more important than what anybody else, more compelling than that. So I want to encourage you to speak positively about yourself. Speak affirmatively about your future, even if you have no idea how you're going to get there. It starts with your I am statement. So I'm going to ask you to become self-aware, because we have thousands of thoughts that cross our minds every single day, minute by minute. And I want you to interrogate those thoughts and see if you're saying things about yourself to yourself, whether silently or out loud, that affirm you and strengthen you and that are positive and uplifting, or are they negative things? We all struggle with this. This is life-changing. This is game-changing. Practice it. That's my challenge to you. And I also want you to begin to separate for yourself. Yes, you're a student, you're a daughter, you're a leader, you're a scholar, you're an achiever, you're a soon-to-be doctor, whatever, fill in the blanks. Those are all your roles that you play and the relationships that you have. But you by yourself, if you never did anything ever again, no contribution, nothing, if you just stayed perfectly still, you, in and of yourself, your core identity is valuable. And I need you to know that, because it took me a really long time to figure that out for myself. So in all you're doing, in all your human doings and achievements, don't forget that you're a precious human being as is. You're not always going to feel precious. You might be feeling pretty stressed out right about now at midterms or end of semester. You might be feeling confused. But that does not change that at the core of who you are, whether you pass or you fail, whether you get a 4.0 or a 2.3, whether you make the major you wanted or you have to choose another one, no matter what happens, who you are matters. And it's perfect as is. I believe that with every fiber of my being, and you need to know that, because like Dr. Casanova said, there's a lot of stress on all students, and particularly on first-gen students, that make you question who you are. There's something called the imposter syndrome, that even when we got into the university, and even when we got the scholarship, and even when we're nailing the classes, we still don't believe that we belong here. And I can tell by the looks on some of your faces that I just resonated with you. But you do belong here. And you're not imposters, and you're the real deal. You hear me? You're the real deal. And if you don't believe it for yourself right now, I'm going to believe it for you until you believe it. All right? You are the real deal. You're legit. You belong here. You can do this. You're going to go all the way. You're going to graduate. You're going to make all your dreams come true. Trust me on this. Okay? You're going to do this, but you have to start believing that about yourself first. Believe in the person that you want to become. And use all the resources. So at the bottom of every slide, you're going to see these ASU resources that can help you in the different things that we're talking about. So in identity and finding out who you are, your history, your perspective, maybe your cultural identity, there's tons of resources you can use, and we're labeling those at the end of each slide. So separate your you from your do, speak life positively about yourself, and make sure you're careful about what follows I am. Because I'm going to tell you something, this was an extra little nugget. If you don't decide what comes after I am, you're going to spend the rest of your life reacting to what somebody else tells you you are. It's the difference between driving the car and being the passenger. All right now, so purpose and vision. So that's me. I get excited. You see, he has